Dr. Rachel Griffiths, and I'm with my father and partner in aquatics,
Dr. Tom Griffiths.
Welcome to the Drowning Files, where each week we share a lawsuit we've been involved with or another true story with suggestions to learn from these tragedies to save lives. What case do you have today?
Previously, I spoke about a local drowning in 2024, May of 2024, just a few weeks ago in central Pennsylvania. And after we recorded that podcast, it jogged my memory. We had another tragedy years ago in State College, Pennsylvania, where a Penn State University student who was on the track team at Penn State was in a residential swimming pool. And the activity he was doing was going off the diving board and trying to dive through an inflated inner tube. This was a black rubber inner tube like you found in the old-fashioned automobile tires. And he was catastrophically injured. But what was different about his injury was he never hit the bottom. In fact, he never submerged underwater. What he did was when he missed the hole in the middle of the tube to enter the water, he hit with his head the rubber inner tube itself. And that inflated tube kind of ricocheted his head and neck, so it snapped his neck and horribly broke his neck and made him a quadriplegic. Now, that sounds far-fetched, but if you think about it, the major cause of injuries with catastrophic injuries with trampolines is not hitting the floor or something off the trampoline bed, but if you land on your head on a trampoline, you can snap your neck doing that. So I don't know if this resulted in a lawsuit, but I knew this gentleman. His parents were well known in the community, a very nice family. And it just highlights any time someone decides to enter the water head first, you have to make some serious decisions here. If you're in the open water, you have to check the area below for obstructions like sunken logs and rocks in the depth of water. If you're diving in a swimming pool, you have to make sure that your point of entry is going to be at least 9 feet of water. 9 feet of water is what you need to prevent a catastrophic neck injury. And when talking about diving injuries, I recall way back early in my career, we were allowed to dive off starting blocks in 3.5 feet of water. And today, it's nearly double that. I mean, it's at least 5 feet of water. But for decades, there really were no injuries diving into 3.5 feet of water because we were taught to dive out flat and skim across the surface of the water like a stone. But with the introduction of a pike scoop dive, where coaches wanted to get you to drive your hips up in the air and point your head down to get deeper in the water, it wasn't even that dive that caused injuries, but like our inner tube case that I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast, coaches would teach this pike scoop dive by having competitive swimmers dive through hula hoops that they were holding out in front of them or diving over poles. And what would happen is that the competitive swimmer, when they came close to the object, they would try to avoid hitting it, and as a result, tuck their chin, dive too deep, and break their necks. So I'm talking about diving injuries from a variety of angles, no pun intended. But what I'm trying to say is, to break one's neck from a dive takes less than half a second. So as the summer warms up and more people are going to swimming pools and swimming holes and lakes and rivers and quarries, we really encourage people to enter the water feet first, first time. And if they're going to dive head first, make sure that the water is deep enough and there are no obstructions. And that's what I wanted to discuss today.